Hi, it's Mrs. Bella again. I would like to just touch base with you guys, see how you are doing this week. I know today was our day to go to the Ag Fair Day at the Bear County Fairgrounds, put on by the Farm Bureau, but unfortunately, due to the fact that we're not in school, we will not be attending the field trip. So I thought I would share with you a little bit, just a little bit about agriculture, things that we make and buy and purchase in stores that involve agriculture. And I want to share a book with you first. It's called How'd That Get in My Lunchbox? And it was written by Chris Butterworth. One of the best parts of the day is when you lift the lid of your lunchbox to see what's inside. Your parents have packed it with lots of tasty treats. They probably got all the food from a grocery store, but food doesn't grow in stores. So where did it come from before it was in the store? Just how did all this food get in your lunchbox? How did the bread in your sandwich get in your lunchbox? A farmer planted seeds in spring, and by summer they'd grow into tall waving wheat with fat, ripe grains at the tip of every stalk. The farmer cut the wheat with a giant combine harvester and sent it to a flour mill. The miller ground the grains into flour, and trucks took the flour to a bakery. The baker mixed the flour with water, sugar, and yeast, kneaded it into a soft, squishy dough, and baked it in a very hot oven. Out came fresh loaves of bread, ready to send to the store. Take a bite of the bread in your sandwich. Crusty on the outside and soft in the middle. How did the cheese in your sandwich get in your lunchbox? Your cheese was once milk that came from a cow. A farmer milked the cows, and a tanker from the dairy came to collect the milk. Step 1. In the dairy, cheesemakers warmed up the milk. 2. And added bacteria to make it look sour and thick. 3. Then they added a substance that animals use to digest milk called rennet. 4. And it changed again into bits called curds floating in whey. 5. They drained off the whey, chopped up the rubbery curds, added some salt, and pressed them into blocks. 6. They stored the blocks for months until the cheese was ripe. If you bite into your cheese, it's creamy and smooth, but tasty too, and tingling on your tongue. How did your tomatoes get in your lunchbox? Last summer, your tomatoes were growing in a big plastic tunnel full of tomato plants. The sun and the warmth made the plants grow tall and bloom with yellow flowers. As each flower died, a tiny green tomato fruit began to grow from its middle. Day by day, the plant sucked up water, and the tomatoes swelled from green to orange to red. When bunches of ripe scarlet tomatoes dangled from the branches, the grower picked them. 1. Sorted them. 2. Packed them. And 3. And sent them to the store. Pop one into your mouth and squish the sweet sour juice out. How did your apple juice get in your lunchbox? Last spring, the apple trees in the orchard were full of flowers, and in summer, tiny apple buds grew from each flower stalk. The buds kept growing, and by autumn, the trees were full of ripe, sweet fruit. Pickers climbed into the trees and filled their bins with fruit. A truck took the bins to the juice factory, and when sorters threw out any rotten apples, then, step 1, a machine washed the rest. 2, and mashed them in a milling machine, seeds, skin, and all. 3, a huge press squeezed the mash till all its juice ran out. 4, a heater warmed up the juice to kill off any germs. 5, and poured it into cartons. Suck hard on your straw to taste the apple tang. How did your carrots get in your lunchbox? Last spring, your carrots were growing in a field on a vegetable farm. You wouldn't have seen any carrots then, just long rows of feathery leaves. As the leaves grew taller in the summer sun, each carrot root pushed deeper into the earth, soaking up water and turning orange, and by late summer they had swelled so much the top of each carrot poked out of the earth. Pickers pulled them up. Then the carrots were washed and packed into trucks. If you bite into your carrot, you can see how sweet and crunchy it tastes. How did the chocolate chip in your cookie get into your lunchbox? Cookies are made from flour, sugar, and butter, and this one's got chocolate chips in it. Chocolate starts off as a bean, well, lots of beans, which grow in pods on a cocoa tree. The pods are picked from the tree, then they're cut open, and the beans are scooped out. These beans are spread out and left to dry in the sun. The dried beans are taken to a factory, sometimes on the other side of the world. In the factory, they're cleaned, 1, roasted, 2, and ground into a thick, sticky paste. 3, sugar's mixed in so the paste gets sweeter but is still gritty, so it's squeezed, stirred, melted, and cooled. To make it really smooth, it takes a lot of work to make chocolate. 4, finally the chocolate is molded into blocks. These are made into little chips that will melt in your mouth all over again. How did your clementine get in your lunchbox? Early in summer, the trees in the clementine grove were full of sweet-smelling, waxy flowers. As the flowers died, a tiny green clementine berry began to grow out of each one. The clementine swelled in the warm sun, turned from green to yellow, and by the time cooler winter weather arrived, the clementines had turned orange and were so heavy and full of juice that they made the branches droop. Pickers climbed ladders to reach them. They had to wear gloves so they didn't bruise the tender fruit inside the skin. They washed them and packed them, and the growers sent the boxes and trucks to the market. It's easy to peel a clementine, then all you have to do is pop the juicy pieces in your mouth. Most clementines are seedless. You've eaten it all, from the first bite of bread to the last piece of fruit. It came from fields and farms, from orchards, from groves, and from dairies. So many people help bring it to you. Farmers and bakers, cheese and chocolate makers, pickers, packers, and truck drivers. And now it's all in your stomach, starting to do the job that food does, helping you grow taller and stronger, giving you get up and go. So I wanted to share that book with you. I received this through Ag in the Classroom grant a few years ago, and I always like to share that with my students. But one thing that we talk about usually at our Ag Fair Day is that they will talk at each station about foods that are made from the plant or the grain, the animal, whatever station that we're at, they will share about. So I pulled out some items for my kitchen today that I want to talk to you about. And one is a Honey Nut Cheerios. And I found this very interesting as I was looking at the ingredients. Maybe you can guess some items that make the cereal. One is whole grain oats. Okay, so we use oats. Sugar, and that's going to come from a sugarcane plant. Cornstarch, so you got corn in it. We have also canola oil, and I looked that up, and that's a flour canola. And then almond flavored, so almond nuts. So those are just a few things that make this cereal for you. And if you think about all the hands that were involved to get those ingredients, and then those ingredients come together at the factory to make this particular food item, and then from the factory it has to be then shipped, sent by truck out to our stores, stacked up by all the people, and then we go and purchase it. So a lot of hands have been in the process of making this. Another item that I pulled was maple syrup. And we know maple syrup comes from maple trees with their sap. And this is pure maple syrup. It's really rich in color. You can see the dark color. Super sweet tasting. And then I pulled a couple items that aren't food items, but also has some agricultural products in it. toothpaste, and then crayon. And these both have agricultural products in it. You might want to research and find out what is actually in your toothpaste and what makes crayons. I know in 4th grade we just recently had our beef cattle talk, and we were talking about how we use more than just the meat, and the hide makes for the footballs. We talked about that. Other animals are used for baseballs, footballs, basketballs, things like that. They usually talk about at our Ag Fair Day too. So today I just challenge you to, in your house, pull out items, maybe when you're eating your meals together, just chat about what ingredients are involved in your meal today and where did that food come from. Maybe you can look at boxes and the ingredients on them and figure out what actually made the item that you were eating at your meal. And I have one question to finish up my little chat today, and that is, here's the question of your day. What night is the most popular to eat pizza? Look it up. Find out, because I know it's going to be a popular meal that we're probably eating over the next couple of weeks. And I know our family loves to eat pizza, whether it's delivered or if we get carry out, or also frozen pizza. So find out what night is the most popular to eat pizza. Hope you guys are doing well, and I'll touch base with you again. Bye.